Aboriginal people traditionally belong to the country that holds their totems. So every plant and tree that belong on our country are totemic, and they belong to the people of this land. Our plants tell us where we are, and our environment, the ecological system of our world is pretty well understood by us. My name is Lynette Knapp. I'm a Merningar Yorker, and I live on the coastline down the southern ocean of Western Australia. The Aboriginal people have got two kind of lives. One's the soul and the other's the spiritual. The Moodjar, or the Mungee, this is our soul tree. So that when we pass, our souls take our journey to the nearest Moodjar, rest in its branches for a few weeks or until someone else comes behind it. We believe that when one person dies, you'll have a couple going with them. So they rest in that branches of this tree until someone catches them up, and then they take the journey to the land that you see between the ocean and the sky. We don't pick the flowers. If animals camp under it, they become sacred. They're as sacred as a tree, so you can't hunt them or harm them in any way. So when the old fellas used to clear paddocks, they'd never touch these, and which was why they were left, because they couldn't cut them down. I'm very lucky that my kids are in tune as much as I am. My daughter Chandel is a university student. She's also an anthropologist. And her daughter Jessica, they're with me most days when we do cultural stuff. And it's wonderful to see that carry on like it's carried on from me.
For us, it's kind of like a normal way that our families are. We spend a lot of time together and we're always out doing cultural activities.
Between the sky and the ocean.
Any cultural education we do, Mum always says we are a part of the ecological system of Australia. Using those stories are really key for us to help that education out in the community as well, so people can understand how we feel about it.
To find the connection to country and to start healing from it, it's a big responsibility to go out and let other people know how much it really does help you and what it does for not only you but your family as a whole.
I met Alison Lolfitz when she first started her PhD. I think she must have realised that something could be done about our cultural stuff. And she took it back to the uni. It's a new growth, and I think that was encouraged by the fire that they had.
I'm Dr. Alison Lolfitz, and I'm a conservation biologist based here at UWA in Albany. I guess I feel really privileged to be in this position, to have had this opportunity to learn from these amazing natural historians like Aunty Lynn. You know, we've kind of been on this journey together.
It's a both-way sharing, so it's a shared knowledge. I think the way that I've passed it on with Alison in particular is the same way we pass on with our kids. But this time it's being put down in PhDs. It's very successful, all the work that I've done with Ali.
I sort of see myself as a conduit, if you like, for people to be able to share their knowledge with a wider audience. I feel like I'm in a pretty kind of privileged position to be able to do that. Aunty Lynn's talked about that these plants, the Mungee, they tell the story, and they can only tell a story based on where they live, and like it's the story of place. So even though it's widespread across southwestern Australia, they grow in these clonal groups as opposed to distributing seed really widely. They kind of distribute seed locally. There's been some genetic studies done on them. The populations of them are highly differentiated from one another. It's a hemiparasite. It means that it's primarily parasitic, not solely parasitic. It has several hundred host species. It has like this little round secataire structure that it can grab roots and hook into the xylem of the plant, which is the system of the plant that the water flows through and kind of soluble nutrients. So that's where it primarily gets its nutrients, and it can also get water that way, but it also has a taproot so it can get water itself. That makes it really fascinating because it can get into probably a really wide range of habitats because it has this ability to host on a wide range of plants. It's just really important to protect them where they live. I think that also really corroborates with what we understand about their genetics as well. So the DNA also tells a story, if you like, because it's also so place-based. And if we start kind of using it in restoration and putting it in places it's not meant to be, it's kind of mixing up all of that DNA, I guess, for want of a better way of putting it. That was one of those real moments where the traditional knowledge and the scientific knowledge kind of came together as a bit of an aha, yeah, that totally makes sense, that this is a plant that you kind of really don't want to mess with. You just need to appreciate it where it is and really value and honour it without trying to recreate situations and put it somewhere else. The work that I do now that's just really collaborative with Noongar traditional owners just has this real richness and depth to it that I don't feel like I ever had when I was just kind of thinking from a pure scientist point of view. When you put that human lens over it as well, it's just so much more exciting and rich.
This is a good example of
As I'm learning more and just looking at landscapes in different ways and understanding that human history that's happened there, it's kind of a bit like, you know, when you're a kid and you're like moving your feet around and getting your feet down in the mud, like it kind of feels like that. You're just like connecting deeper and deeper to the earth. I guess I've really spent a lot of time with Aunty Lynn and her family, and they've really just taught me so much.
You've got to live it to be able to understand it and teach it to other people. That's the only way I can describe all that knowledge. The knowledge is safe. Yep, I'm quite pleased with that fact.